I kid you guys not. I just recorded a 27 minute video of Ilya Taporia and Justin Gaethje fight, bro. And I reacted to like the Ilya Taporia's fans coping, Ilya Taporia, the way he took the loss. And I broke down something I feel about that fight that nobody talked about, which I feel like is why Justin Gaethje actually shocked the world. And that video's put on pause again. Guys, this is the second time I just put that video on pause, but this time it's actually fully recorded. I just got to edit it and post it. But I put it on pause to talk about Islam Makhachev versus Ian Garry, guys. Finally got announced. August 15, UFC 330. Co-main events, Mackenzie Dern versus Gillian Robertson. Who gives a shit about that? Let's be real. Oh my God, I can't believe Mackenzie Dern's a champion. Anyways, let's be real. We're here because Islam Makhachev, Ian Garry. It's just been upset after upset after upset. Like, bro, you know what I just don't want to be the narrative, guys? There's a curse behind this. I don't know what it is. I don't want to hear no more, yeah, this guy has no chance. I heard it, Hamza Strickland. Kind of heard it, Gaethje Ilya. A little bit more people are like, you know what, after Hamza lost, though, I don't know. Now people are like, after Hamza lost, after Ilya lost, Islam. Guys, oh my God, and this fight's not easy. The weird thing about, like, this fight's not easy. Oh my God, this is not a 100+ hours video, of course. This is my early thoughts. I will make a video. Listen, I've never missed. I'm 4 for 4 on those videos. I have to make one on this. And if I don't pick Islam after watching footage, I'm sorry. It's because I made a smart choice. It's because I made a smart choice, okay? Okay, hold on. I just want people to know that I'm a big Islam fan. But after I do, like, watch all their fights, you know, make a pros and cons list, I will pick truthfully. This is my early thoughts on what I think right now, so I can run people through my head and my thought process. And for this fight right now, I want people to know something. Out of everyone in welterweight, this is not the hardest fight for Islam, in my opinion. This is the most tricky fight. Now, tricky and hardest are two different things. Because hardest, I tend to look at it from a stylistic lens and a stylistic scope. Hardest, I could say Kamaru Usman, Sean Brady, you know, someone with a wrestling base or grappling base whose boxing or striking is not that bad. That's what I think of hardest. When I think of tricky, I think of unique. I think of different. I think of something maybe someone has not seen before. And let's be real, 6'3", lanky, long striker is something Islam Makhachev has never seen in his entire life. Like, he's never seen that. Who's the longest striker he's went against? Fucking Moicano at 5'11"? Like, I'm being genuinely honest. Like, I feel like at lightweight, there's not a lot of tall people. You never really fought the Jalen Turners, you know. Like, what, Charles Oliveira is like 5'10". That's considered like lanky, I guess, in that weight class. I swear, I'm not even tripping. This is a weird one for Islam Makhachev. And Ian Garry's a confident bloke, dude. He's confident, you know. No, Ian Garry's a confident guy. Listen, I'll tell you my honest thoughts about this fight unfiltered. I'll start off talking about Islam Makhachev. Like I said, he's never seen this before. Islam Makhachev is, in my opinion, though, the most skilled fighter in UFC history, period. I feel like there's not a lot of people who could actually go in the ring or go in the octagon and outstrike Islam. I said and I've been right about this every time, and everyone's been mad, and I debated bedtime about it. He thought JDM was going to outstrike or be the better striker than Islam. I said, there's no way in hell that would happen.
Extremely hard to track him down.
Why are you glazing the strike? Islam's a better striker than that fucking guy you're glazing right now.
Though.
Why? What makes Islam a worse striker than him?
Islam and JDM have a striking match right now. JDM wins. That's
no, Islam wins. Islam wins. I don't care what people say. Islam's a better striker. Islam has proved he's a better striker. Yeah, we do. We do, baby. Islam's a better striker. There's nothing in the world that can convince me that JDM's a better striker. JDM is okay. You can laugh. You can laugh, but you can't prove me wrong. You can laugh, but you can't prove me wrong. I literally got mad when I was debating him on that because, like, I hate when people disrespect Islam striking. Now, JDM got out leg kicked, you know, and out boxed, and then he got destroyed on the ground. Islam showed that he's a better mixed martial artist, you know, and I'm liking Islam striking because I actually think it's getting better every time. I told people Islam was going to outstrike Dustin Poirier. No one believed me. He went out there, outstruck Dustin Poirier, and did his thing on the ground, you know. He outstruck Volkanovski like I thought he would. He outstruck him in the first fight in the first 1, 2, 3, 4 rounds. The 5th round, he got dropped and outstruck, but like he actually outstruck him on the feet. If you look at the counters that Islam did when he pulled back, sent Volk flying, the knees in the clinch, you know, he outstruck all those guys. Islam has proven that he could go in there with the best strikers in the world and perform to an extent that not a lot of people think he could. Now, bringing up the Volk fight, because I remember his striking looked probably one of the best I've seen. He also knocked out Volk in the rematch, but I'm talking about the first fight. Like the pull counters he had, the knees in the clinch, the head kick attempts that were really close that he ended up catching Volk with in the rematch. A lot of those worked out from Islam's striking style because Volk was the shorter opponent. Even Dustin Poirier is about eye level with him. It does look like Islam might be like a little bit, maybe half an inch, barely taller than him, you know. But a lot of the way he was able to strike against Dustin Poirier, I personally feel like worked because the heights. You know, there's some things Islam does where like I don't know if it worked the best with a taller, rangier opponent, in my opinion. And as far as how he strikes, for example, there's something Islam likes to do when you press him. He likes to do a counter check hook. And he usually has a long hook when he throws that, you know, a longer opponent, you know, and I know this because I've been boxing lately. Like, I know this, like when people try check hooking me, I could catch them with a straight or a jab before that check hook lands. And all I got to do is keep this up. Ian Garry is just a longer opponent. And it's going to be really hard for Islam striking to be clean. So this is actually the one fight for my early pick. Like I said, I got to watch it back. This is going to be the only fight I ever said for Islam Makhachev where I actually don't think he necessarily could outstrike the guy in front of him. And I never said that before. And I know people are like, oh my God, I've never said that before. Dustin Poirier, I knew what was going to happen. JDM, I knew he was going to outstrike him. You know, and a lot of people say it's because of the takedown threat, which he does have. Volkanovski, I knew he was going to outstrike him, you know. But with this fight, he does have a takedown threat. Now, and I'm going to tell you guys this right now. If Islam gets him on the ground, listen to my words, it's a different ball game. And can he get him on the ground? Absolutely. Ian Garry is one of those skinnier, leaner people. Islam Makhachev is one of the heaviest people when he gets you on the ground, specifically in half guard. I was talking about it in the JDM fight. You know, when I was debating bedtime on it, I remember I was telling bedtime, like, you realize when Islam gets him in half guard, JDM's not going to have much to do. Yeah, but JDM's the best scrambler. Yeah, but the scrambler. You can't scramble with Islam because you scrambling with Islam lets him use his best weapon, which is his Darce choke and his submission attempts and his just submission threats, you know. So the second you try to force something, that's the best time to get caught. Ian Garry's body composition is the best kind of guy to catch in a Darce choke or rear naked choke. Ask Hamza Chimaev how he felt when he went against a lanky opponent like Kevin Holland. Like, those guys with longer limbs and like longer necks, they're easy to catch in these chokes in these positions. That's the flaw about being a longer guy in the grappling aspect. However, there's some pros of being a longer ranger guy in the grappling aspects. And one of them is being hard to take down. There's a misconception. I've noticed this about people. Like I sometimes, you know how I be posting my fucking, you know, my hitting Bob, dude, one takedown, you're done. I know I can wrestle because I wrestled people, you know, like I know this. And there's something people like, there's a misconception. People think the skinnier you are, the easier you are to take down because I just feel like you're going to be easy to take down. I don't know. I really don't know the science behind it or why people believe it. Maybe just, skinny guy, big guy takedown, skinny guy, easy takedown. I feel like I recommend watching a fight called Yusri Belgori versus Asmat Bekov. We've seen Bekov maul some people in the UFC, guys, but there was a difference in that fight. Now, when you're trying to cage wrestle a longer person, guys, and just even if you're trying to take down a longer person out in the open, you could do, like, Islam can usually do some things where if he, like, locks his hands, he could, like, lift and he could twist and he could do some throws and stuff. When you do that, when you lock your hands against a longer guy, you try to lift, you're going to be on your tippy toes doing this. That nigga's feet are still going to be on the ground. And this guy's, like, the tallest Islam's went against by a long shot, and he's very lanky and he's very long. He's listed at 6'3". He might be taller. He's like one of those 6'3s that I feel like he seems taller because his leg length's even longer. Now, what's weird about people like this, even if you have them against the fence and you're wrestling a single leg and lifting a single leg, and even if you think you're getting them down, they could post with their arm. Like, their arm could be on the ground posted at the same time their fucking legs and they're on one knee. Like they're very abnormal and hard to take down and control. Now, that's where the problem with a fight like this for me starts to come. Like, I'm starting to look at that. I'm like, oh, you know, it's not going to be easy to take him down. First of all, let me tell you this right now. I will rewatch the Bilal fight, but I'm telling you right now, I'm not taking too much from the Bilal fight. I remember before the JDM fight, I was telling like people that Islam is going to take down JDM easier than you think. No, did you see the Bilal fight? Bilal failed takedowns. guys, Bilal's offensive wrestling. The next person, I got so mad at bedtime specifically for this because I remember you trying to tell me, dude, Bilal tried to take him down. Like, he's not Bilal. Don't ever and I fuck with Bilal. Hey, Bilal, if you're watching this, I'm sorry. You know you're my guy, but I don't like the comparisons between Islam and Bilal because there's nothing to compare. JDM has never been in front of a well-rounded opposition his entire life, and the only thing you can point to is Bilal with a poor game plan. Outside of that, like I said, Bilal Muhammad with a poor game plan. But don't compare Bilal to Islam skill for skill. That's disrespectful. That's not even something respectful you can do. They're not comparable. Why are they comparable? Why?
They are comparable.
Why?
The way that they fight is comparable. They are grapplers who have solid boxing and pressure.
No.
They are comparable.
Islam Makhachev's a defensively sound striker who doesn't take risks. Bilal Muhammad's a striker more like Sean Brady. Bilal Muhammad's a striker. No, wait. Bilal's a striker who walks forward and tries to overwhelm you with volume. I remember, but bedtime was like, yeah, dude, but he's a striker who wrestles. Same with it. No, they're not the same at all, gang. They're not the same. There's like, you can't compare their striking or their wrestling. Islam's a lot better of a wrestler via completion rate, via accuracy. Islam has won in there with everyone and took down everyone he's won against. Let's just start there. Islam has took down everyone went against. Bilal can't say the same. And Islam's takedown entries are just different. Islam will take you down. He'll wrestle a single. He'll wrestle a double. He'll force a scramble like he did against Dustin Poirier when you swung him, then jumped on the neck. He'll force a scramble just to get in position to outwork you. Islam's one of the most complete wrestlers and grapplers in UFC history. And he's one of those people too, like he'll get you down. He's what I call a submission first grappler, which leads to fights or could lead to what some people might view as a boring fighter. Well, that makes no sense what I just said because Islam never had a boring fight outside of maybe the JDM fight if you consider that boring. But it's because he's a submission first guy. JDM tried to scramble but didn't want to force scramble because he was afraid of getting submitted because if you know the second he forced a scramble, he would have been submitted. That could actually be something that happens with Ian Garry. Now, Ian Garry, we've seen him on his back against Shavkat. We've seen him tucking down a couple times. We've even seen MVP reverse him in controlling positions. There's some obvious things about Ian Garry that's telling you right now, if he's forced in a scramble against Islam, if he's on his back against Islam, may God have mercy on his soul. And I hope he understands this. Like, may God have mercy on your soul if you find yourself on your back or you find yourself in a scrambling situation with Islam Makhachev. Because let me tell you right now, he's going to win that 9 times out of 10. There's no way you're going to go in there with Islam and force a scramble and come on top of it. I've seen you out scrambled by MVP and some of these other blokes. So I'm not worried about Islam Makhachev, who's been doing this his whole life, out scrambling you and out grappling you in a dominant position on your back. You have to use everything in your power to avoid getting taken down, which you are going to do for a good amount of this fight, guys. But Islam is a warrior. However, there's something I can't ignore that looks very frustrating to deal with that Islam has never dealt with. And let me just say, one of Islam's biggest cons, in my opinion, is how heavy he is on that front leg. He's heavy on his front leg too, guys. Islam's like flat-footed in a bouncy way. When I say Islam's flat-footed, don't think of Jamal Hill platypus foot. Don't think of that. When I say Islam Makhachev's flat-footed, it's like he just naturally has flat feet. Same as me. I have flat feet naturally, but I bounce a lot when I strike. But he just has flat feet in the sense that he's like usually heavier on his front leg when he's just in a complacent stance. And that happens. Ian Garry has a very good stomp and a very good oblique kick. And he throws it a lot. Islam has never won against that. My worry for Islam is like this is his first rangy opponent. He's going to go against someone whose moves abnormally annoying. It's something like, when has Islam went against someone who moves so much? Like, nigga, stay still. Like, you just don't stop moving, bro. When has Islam fought that? I don't think he has. I think Dustin Poirier is a lot more flat-footed in the stance. Volk does move a lot, but like I said, it's different from a 5'2" guy moving a lot and throwing a low kick and trying to circle and trying to throw some 1-2s. I actually think Volk was actually more aggressive in that fight, the first fight specifically against Islam, because I feel like he had to take some more chances because Islam's what people call a safe striker. People call this about Islam. They say this about Islam. Dustin said the same thing. Volk said the same thing. He's a striker who takes no risk. He's hard to land on. He baits you into things so he could go and counter you. He did it against Dustin Poirier. You see how much counters he had against Dustin Poirier? He'll wait for Dustin Poirier to throw something. Dustin Poirier will be out of range because Islam would do a good job going backwards, and then Islam's going to come back and fire off 3, 4, 5 punch combo to respond to it, and then might even shoot a takedown at the end of it. That's what Islam does well. People get frustrated with his striking style because he's known as a safe striker, and he doesn't take too much risk in his striking style. He'll wait for you to make a mistake. that works against people around your height or shorter. The problem with the longer guys, they're probably not going to miss as much when they take their chances. So you jumping back is probably not going to get you out of range the way it would normally get you out of range against people who are around your height and around your level. I'm very nervous about the oblique kicks and some of the combos Ian Garry can let off on the feet if he is confident in himself on the feet. You know, I feel like the Protez fight shown great. You know, Protez is even his height, like not his height, but Protez is even a longer opponent, which I feel like that's the most you could see Ian Garry struggle in the striking round specifically when he's going against someone around his size. Like against MVP, he looked lost on the feet, but that's because MVP is the best striker in UFC history, in my opinion. You know, so he's very hard to deal with from a striking standpoint. You know, but he's not going to have those struggles of Islam Makhchaev being fast. And let me just tell you right now, Lighterman's skill speed is not going to favor Islam Makhchaev in this fight. Ian Garry's going to be a lot faster in the hands, in the striking, in the feet. You know, actually looking at the JDM fight, I don't think Islam had like a distinct speed advantage. I think his low kicks looked heavier. I don't think they necessarily looked wicked fast. I don't think Islam's hands look wicked fast. I think Islam was just objectively a better fighter than JDM, and JDM has chinny legs. JDM has chinnable legs. Like, when you have chinny legs as a grown man in 2026, I'm not jacking them. Like, hold on. He has family that walks and, like, watches him go into a fight with chinny legs, brother. You guys know how sometimes you're walking around your kitchen and just hit your knee on the fucking... fuck, my knee. Like, he gets hit and then he gets chinned. His knee gets chinned. He falls on the ground. He's not up, bro. His chinny-ass legs, bro. Ian Garry never really showed me that he's chinny in the legs. And the thing is, like, I don't think Islam Makhchaev will be able to go like low kick for low kick the way he went in JDM. Like, I don't think he's gonna try to have a low kick off against Ian Garry, because spoiler alert, he's not gonna win it. I think Ian Garry's activity in his low kicks are gonna be problematic. Now, it brings me to the boxing department in this fight that I want to address too. Ian Garry is catchable on the feet. I think it comes from pressure though. The one that sometimes I've seen Ian Garry wilt in fights was when Carlos Protez started pressuring him, right? I remember, like, especially late, he started getting nervous and shooting takedowns to get him off him. And, like, even there was a point where he was crawling away from Carlos Protez because the pressure was too much and overwhelming. When MVP had his success on the feet, it was from quick, explosive counters in and out striking. When Bilal Muhammad had his success on the feet, because he did, it was because he was ripping 1-1-1-2s and, like, crazy combos coming forward. The weird thing about that is specifically when I look at Islam Makhachev, he's not as fast as MVP and 6'3" and explosive like him. He's not really like Carlos Protez where he comes forward with like hand fighting and trying to find the shot, which might land on him, but you might have to take a couple, but he can land something powerful. Protez is known for landing something powerful enough to put someone away. He's not that either. And he's not Bilal Muhammad in the boxing to a point where he could overwhelm him with crazy output on the feet with his hands specifically and chain together long punch combos. It's one of those things where he's a counter-first striker. And if you're a counter-first striker against a longer range opponent in the striking, I just have a hard time seeing you have success in the striking. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. That's the weird disconnect with me when it comes to striking. So I will say this. This is the most nervous I've actually been for an Islam fight, because I know it's his most tricky fight. Might not be his hardest stylistically on paper, like I said, because the grappling difference, I do think when he gets, I'm going to say when he gets, because I do think it's warranted. He could get him. Well, if he gets, I'm not playing this when he gets game anymore. I'm not playing this, when Ilya lands on Gaethje, he's probably going to be game over. I'm not doing when Hamza wrestles after the first and the second and third, because I don't know if Hamza's going to wrestle all 5 rounds. I'm not going to say when Islam Makhachev gets him on the ground, because I'm done playing the when games. It's a fight, for God's sakes. If Islam gets him on the ground, and let's just say this, he needs to. Islam Makhachev needs to get him on the ground, because his counter-first striking style that's spectacular against people around his size, I don't think it's going to cut it against Machado. I don't think so, you know? And I could try to sit here and give Ian Garry credit for his BJJ skills. Yeah, man, I'm a good BJJ. Shut your mouth, Ian Garry. You're showing me nothing. Oh, but he almost had a rear naked choke on Shavkat Rakhmonov. Nigga, who this guy? Shavkat's mid as well. Like, mid compared to Islam. I think Islam's better and more well-rounded than Shavkat, but at least Shavkat's 6'1". You know what I'm trying to say? Like, Shavkat had moments too on the feet because he's sitting down in some shot, but he's also 6'1". Islam Makhachev's 5'10", guys. Dude, guys, I'll be real, guys. When I'm sparring people 5'10", and I keep saying me because I finally started sparring. When I'm going against someone 5'10", guys, it's so much of a more comfortable than even someone 6'1". There's a difference, man. You feel the difference. As a long-rangey guy, you feel the difference. It's like, I swear, I get happy. I'm like, thank God. Like, oh, this can, even if they have like years over me, I'm like, oh, at least I know that I could use my range to my advantage. Ian Gary's range will be used to his advantage. And one thing about Ian Gary, he's not like your tip. There's some long rangey strikers who just use their length in stupid ways. Like Randy Brown, for example, no offense to him. I feel like sometimes he just kind of comes forward and like just starts throwing kicks and straights up the middle, but he doesn't use his length well and doesn't use like horizontal and backwards movement well with it. Like he kind of just takes abnormal risks and puts his chin on the platter. Ian Gary will be defensively sound. And if Islam lets Ian Gary, I swear to God, Ian Gary will just jump into oblique kicks, jump into stomping kicks, trying to hyperextend his knee, throw a bunch of low kicks, and he will circle. He will do this for 25 minutes like that. He has no problem doing it. So what is it on? It's on Islam to fight differently than he usually fights. It's on Islam to tank some of these low kicks like Bilal did and make it ugly. Islam isn't accustomed to doing that. Oh my God, what am I saying right now? The more I don't like talking about this fight, because now that this fight's here is one thing. The only reason I don't like talking about this fight is that when I speak about it out loud, it makes me think that it's not a, what am I trying to say? I don't like talking about this fight out loud because it's a hard fight, and Islam's my favorite fight in the UFC, and I know it's a hard fight, And like I said, I haven't watched footage. I think right now I might be underestimating Islam's striking and overestimating Ian Gary's length. Am I? Maybe. Like I said, I haven't done my footage. This is just my early thoughts. Let me just be transparent though. This is my early thoughts. And early on right now, I'm really thinking on the feet. If this fight were to just be on the feet and Islam Makhachev wasn't like insistent on pressuring and trying to shoot takedowns, Ian Garry walks away with the victory pretty soundly. However, if Islam Makhachev is okay with taking an oblique kick or two to close the distance and make it a bit ugly, and I hate to say it, but he has to kind of chase and cut, not chase, but he has to cut off the ring. Don't try to chase Ian Garry in circles because he'll just keep going in circles, And no offense to Islam, I don't necessarily think Islam has like a one-punch power threat that would worry Ian Garry. Like Islam does have a really good head kick that I feel like he throws a lot of his fights, and I feel like it's heavily overrated. I don't think that head kick's going to be as effective as on a taller opponent because he gets his leg pretty high, but I don't know if he's going to be throwing that head kick the way he usually throws in a fight like this because Ian Garry's just long and like usually does a good job staying out of range, Also, Ian Garry has kind of shown me that he does have the endurance for 25 minutes to an extent when he's not getting pressured. I guess the Protez fight, Protez was still on the pressure and would eat their best shots and keep coming forward. So there was openings, If I'm Islam, you know what Islam should try to do? He should try to time a low kick or time an oblique, grab a leg like he did to JDM. And I will say when Islam grabs a leg, he will muss you on the ground. You could like Ian Garry might have great balance, but it comes to the point if he turns the corner, has you, and like pulls you, your ass is grass, dude. That's the thing about this fight though. Like the striking might be one thing. Like this might be the first time I'm saying Islam Makhachev might not have the striking advantage. However, the tough part about that is when you are on your back with Islam, you're in a worse scenario than when Islam is on the feet. Islam could get touched up on the feet a little bit, but I could see Islam landing some low kicks and like landing some shots that could be problematic. The thing is, when Ian Garry's on his back, I don't see much of success for Ian Garry at all, if any. The best case scenario for him is just stalling out and not trying to make a move. But if you make a move, he'll make a cut. That's a great audition. Pay attention. Yeah. Yeah. Make the move, Islam makes the cut. That's a great audition. Because in the audition, you make the move, you make the cut. That's my point. You get what I'm trying. Like, he can't really force scrambles because Islam will just get to him. And like I said, his long limbs are just doing nothing but favors for Islam when Islam's on top of him. This is a battle of styles, conflicting styles. This does remind me of Joshua Van versus Tatsuro Taira in a sense because it was a battle of conflicting styles. It was the boxer versus the grappler. However, there wasn't a very distinct height or size advantage, in that fight. They're very similar in length. I'm trying to think of a fight this reminds me. I don't think I've seen a fight like this, guys. Somebody so skilled in a weight class above going against the tallest, rangiest guy in the weight class who actually happens to be a pretty smart striker with really good fight IQ. Like Ian Garry's not like I said, he's not a lanky striker who fights like an idiot. He uses his length. He knows his pros and he knows his cons and he tries not to lean into his cons. And I will say even for being a primary striker, he's pretty damn well rounded and he has had people in like advantageous positions. Like even getting Shavkat in a choke position is pretty cool. I don't see that happening with Islam, But one thing I will say about this fight, I can see this fight being very competitive and coming down to who wants it more. The thing is, though, if it does come down to that, I favor Islam in that fight. Like, I don't see Ian Garry being in that mindset. Islam has been 5 rounds more than him. Islam has been in wars. You see Islam versus Dustin Poirier. Like, Islam has been in there with someone who doesn't want to go away, someone who's stubborn. You know, Ian Garry has too, to an extent, but he hasn't been in front of skill like Islam Makhachev. And when I think about like level of opposition and like experience, you know, I know JDM's wins maybe not aging the best because JDM's fucking kind of getting beat up by everyone, eh? Like, but you know, it's still one of those things where Islam Makhachev is still the best fighter in the world. He's still the GOAT. Like, Islam Makhachev still Islam Makhachev, you know? And from a lens like that, you have to look at Islam and look at how well-rounded he is and respect it to a sense that even though I see Ian Garry having a field day, that could not be the case. It could just be a scenario where Ian Garry's getting caught by Islam. I got to watch back Ian Garry footage because I think I'm taking too much from this Bilal fight because that's the last time I see in this Protest fight, because those are the 2 fights I remember the most off the top of my head. And I do remember him being hard to catch clean. And for when he did got caught clean, it was kind of because of pressure and volume and accumulation of combos more than anything. You know, which is something I feel like Islam Makhachev doesn't do the greatest, but I do feel like it's something that Islam does chain together combos. I remember against Dustin, he was chaining together some combos, but it's just a tough ask for Islam. I'm not gonna lie, it's a tough ask for Islam, bro. Early thoughts and early opinions. I feel like the way I'm talking, I feel like all you guys kind of think I'm leaning Garry, and that is based on the way I'm speaking. You could come to that conclusion. However, like I said, it's just night and day when or if the fight hits the floor, you know. So early on, I think I'm right now, early prediction, I'm probably leaning Islam Makhachev just because I do think it's a different fight when it hits the floor. But this is not like an ups. Like, I don't like this is my problem here. I just don't want people treating this like a Khamzat Chimaev Strickland fight. Guys, don't be weird. Don't treat it like that. Don't treat this like a Justin Gaethje Ilya moment, you know. If Ian Garry wins, is it an upset? Sure, like probably because he's not going to be the favorite. I don't know what the odds are going to be for this fight. You know, I'll tell you this right now. I'm not going to bet on this fight because I don't want to. I just don't want to be honest. Like, it's just not for, like, it's just too close for me. Like, I don't think it's one of those fights where like there's a clear as day winner. Trust me, I know there's going to be some people in this comment section saying Islam smokes him. Trust me, I know there's going to be someone probably saying Ian Garry smokes him. You know, I do think the overwhelming majority is going to say Islam smoking him easy. I want you guys to know, as someone who like really watches footage, I haven't done it yet, so maybe don't take this opinion with a grain of salt. But from what I see without watching, like doing my footage and like breaking down certain habits at a very crazy level, trust me, I go in on the footage. But before that, right now, I can tell you this. I think stylistically is already hard for both guys. Now it's a matter of when I watch the footage and break down the pros and the cons, how I'm going to react. But early on, guys, I am saying, I have to say and be honest, that I think it's Islam Makhachev by a closer margin than maybe I've been thinking months prior. Maybe because it's real and it's in front of me and I know it's happening in less than 2 months. You heard me right, less than 2 months. Less than 2 months, gang. That's probably why it has me speaking very truthful. But like I said, time will tell. I'll figure out things. I know. The thing about it, I know when I watch this footage, I will come with the most unbiased, truthful pick. For now, this is still an unbiased, truthful pick. I think Islam Makhachev is going to beat Ian Garry. I think it's going to be tough on the feet, but I just don't see Ian Garry lasting with Islam as the fight continues. Ian Garry's movement and frustration is very, very, like, the way he could frustrate people is very annoying early on. Islam has great fight IQ. Islam isn't Ilia Topuria. He doesn't have a crazy ego that's gonna make him chase finishes and put a drop to his fight IQ. He's not Khamzat Chimaev. He's not gonna go in there and strike because his ego, and he's not gonna have just piss me off. Let me just leave it at that. Islam Makhachev, what makes him the best isn't just his fighting skills, it's his fight IQ. Islam Makhachev, the more I'm talking, I'm like, holy shit, it's Islam Makhachev. I'm not worried about him going in there and having a shit game plan because that's just not how he's programmed. He has Habib in his, like, he has the best people in the world in his corner, and he's one of the few in the world to ever grace the octagon who have good fight IQ and is always going to do the best thing for himself to get the victory. I got Islam Makhachev winning early prediction. It's not going to be a walk in the park, but it's going to be a good one. So it's going to be in Philly. I actually might go to some shit there. But let me know your thoughts down below. I'm officially going Islam early on. That's it for me, and God bless. 2, 3.